Welcome to Soul Connections. Before you listen to this, I need you to understand something. This isn't just a story. This is someone who didn't believe in God, who hit rock bottom, who begged to die, and then experienced something that changed everything. What you're about to hear might challenge what you believe about life and death, and about whether we're ever truly alone. So wherever you are right now, just take a breath and listen carefully, because this story might stay with you longer than you expect. This is Steve's story. I'd never grew up believing in God. That wasn't because my family was against religion or because my parents sat me down and told me not to believe. It was simpler than that. God was just never a part of our lives. We never went to church. I don't remember prayer being a thing in our house. Faith wasn't something we talked about over dinner or on Sundays. It just wasn't there. Then, when I was around 9 years old, I found out Santa Claus wasn't real. Then the Easter Bunny. Then the Tooth Fairy. I know that probably sounds childish and small, but when you're a kid and all those things collapse at once, it changes the way you look at everything. At least it did for me. My child brain didn't process it as harmless tradition. I processed it as being lied to. And once that thought got in my head, it spread. If all of that wasn't real, then why would God be real? That was how it started for me. Not with rebellion, not with bitterness, just a quiet closing off. We grew up poor, and I was embarrassed by that in a way I'm not proud of now, but it's the truth. I was ashamed. Life at home wasn't easy. My dad drank a lot, but he was never abusive. He was just sad all the time. Deeply sad. Depressed in a way that hung over the whole house. When I was 12 years old, after me and one of my sisters had been fighting, my dad had enough. He sat us down and told us that one day we'd be best friends and that we would need to stop fighting each other. Then, while he was drunk and emotional, he broke down and told us that he had been sexually abused as a child. Hearing something like that when you're 12 years old changes you. It changed me. I couldn't even begin to imagine what he had gone through. And hearing it made the world feel darker than it had before. By that point, you can probably imagine how I felt about God. If God was real, then where was he in all of that? Where was he when that happened to my dad? Where was he when our family was struggling? It just didn't make sense to me. My teenage years were rough. I was going through a severe depression and didn't even know it. I didn't have the words for it. and I didn't know what I was carrying. So instead, I did what a lot of people do when they can't face themselves. I started partying. I started drinking. I hung around that crowd because it gave me somewhere to disappear into. That's where things started to get strange. I was 17 years old, riding with a friend to a party. He was driving erratically, and out of nowhere, I heard a voice in my left ear. It was clear, commanding, and male. It said, "Put your seatbelt on." It wasn't my thoughts. It wasn't imagination. It wasn't my inner voice. It was a voice. I didn't stop to question it. I just listened. I pulled the seatbelt across me, buckled it, and the moment it clicked, the driver lost control of the vehicle. We rolled 2.5 times and landed on the roof. I never told anyone about that voice. Not one person. I buried it. And over time, I forgot about it. Years went by, and my drinking followed me through most of my life. By the time I was 37, the amount of damage I'd done to myself was unbelievable. I had been married and divorced. Then I found the woman of my dreams, and she dealt with me for a few years before I managed to ruin that too. I broke up with her in a drunken stupor, and I regretted it more than I can explain. Not only did I lose the love of my life, I lost the dog we had together, and that absolutely devastated me. I put myself into rehab, trying to do the right thing. But 2 weeks into rehab, COVID hit, and everything changed for the worse. We were isolated. We had to social distance. The whole thing became, in my opinion, an epic failure for just about everybody there trying to get help. I got out after 28 days and went back home, where I was alone in my house between travelling for work. Naturally, I started drinking again, and eventually I got myself arrested. That arrest was what led to me serving time in jail. By then, I was at a low point that I honestly prayed nobody ever reaches. The amount of alcohol I was consuming was literally killing me from the inside, and I had no idea just how bad things really were. Nobody knew I had already attempted suicide twice over the past year. Both times felt half-hearted on the outside, but the truth is, something in me still wanted to live, even though I thought I didn't. The first attempt was with pills. I took a bunch, fell asleep, and didn't die. But for the next 2 or 3 days, I couldn't walk in a straight line, because my equilibrium was completely off. It felt like when you've been on a rough cruise ship and everything is still swaying after you get back to land. That's what it was like. I lived, and I was still angry about it. A few weeks later, things got even darker. I don't remember every exact detail because At that point in my life, I was a drunken mess. But I remember getting angry with myself one night, because here I was again, another night of disappointment. Another bottle of vodka. I brought this right before the store closed because no matter how many times I tried to fight the urge, I couldn't. That night, I grabbed a belt and tried to hang myself from the bedroom door. I chose that method because that's how a friend of mine had been found. His name was Rich. He had hung himself from his belt on his bedroom door. And I figured if it worked for him, maybe it would work for me. So I strapped the belt around my neck and around the door handle and laid there crying uncontrollably. I remember thinking, this is how Rich felt. It was awful. I lay there for a while, thinking this must take a really long time. Finally, I unstrapped the belt, drank the rest of the bottle of vodka, threw the empty bottle on my bedroom floor, and felt like a complete failure. Then I got down on my hands and knees and prayed for the first time in my life. Completely helpless, bawling uncontrollably. I said, God, if you are real, can you please take my life? Because I can't handle my life anymore. That prayer was the most important part of the story. In fact, it is the story. I want to say that happened on Friday or Saturday, January the 15th or 16th of 2022. At that point, praying to God was me begging for help from God. I desperately wanted to believe in, even though I still didn't. The night after the prayer, I was at my parents' house drinking heavily, and I said to them, I wish I'd just die in a car accident because I'm too much of a pussy to kill myself. I felt helpless. My parents felt helpless. Everybody felt helpless. The next day, I was driving to work. It was a 4-hour drive. I worked in construction and lived out of a hotel 3 nights a week. Construction kept going through COVID, so I was on the road like usual. There was one car in front of me and probably 10 or more vehicles behind me travelling north on Route 11. As I approached Watertown, New York, the weather changed from no snow to full blizzard conditions almost instantly. We were approaching a light where the car in front of me had the option to turn right or go straight, and the oncoming traffic could either turn left or go straight. The car in front of me lost control and started swerving into me, which caused me to swerve into oncoming traffic. Under the light, my car turned sideways as I hit the brakes and slid into the snow. An oncoming truck going around 45 miles per hour was about to hit my passenger side. I downshifted into third and gunned it. What happened next felt impossible. My car somehow turned around. The truck missed me by inches. Now, I was facing the completely opposite direction because my car had done a 180-degree turn, and my driver's side was about to collide with an SUV that was waiting to turn left. I remember seeing a woman behind the wheel bracing herself for what she thought was going to be a terrible collision. Somehow, my car drove around her vehicle, and at the same time, the original car that had started the whole chain reaction was now sliding back into me. I drove between both vehicles, and you couldn't have fit a piece of paper between the three of us. No cars touched. Not even one. At that exact moment, two things happened. First, it was like a literal switch got turned on inside me, because for the first time in my life, I wanted to live. Second, the thought of Jesus flooded my mind. I didn't even believe in Jesus. I prayed to God, if he was real, that suddenly Jesus was all I could think about. I said to myself, okay, maybe you are real, but I need more proof. At the same time, I knew I'd just lived through a real life, Jesus take the wheel moment. There were over 24 people who must have witnessed it. I still had another 2 hours to drive, and I acted like nothing had happened, but inside, I wanted to throw up. I was bewildered. I also had a strong intuitive feeling that this had been my last chance, like he'd been trying to get my attention this whole time, and I had finally run out of room to ignore it. Before I even made it to the job site, I chose a date to quit drinking. May the 16th, 2022. No real reason for the date, other than maybe I needed time to mentally prepare myself. When I got into town and checked into the hotel, I immediately started vomiting. If you had been in my shoes that day, you'd understand why. Right after the almost accident, I called my ex-girlfriend and then my mum and told them both what had happened, explaining like it felt like a switch had been flipped and that for the first time, I wanted to live. Both of them knew my story well enough to be just as shocked as I was. But I left out the thoughts of Jesus, mainly because until that moment, I'd still considered myself an atheist. And now I was questioning everything. As I got closer to my sober date, I partied hard through April. 2 days before I quit drinking, I was under the influence of cocaine and alcohol, and I took a few bites of a psychedelic chocolate. When I got back, I lay in the grass, and when I closed my eyes, I saw Grateful Dead bears in colours I can't describe, like looking through a kaleidoscope. It was the strangest thing, because I couldn't stand the Grateful Dead. And I didn't care about their animated bears at all, but for some reason, it brought me a huge amount of joy. Knowing what I know about psychedelic drugs, I'm convinced that tiny amount helped save my life. Because the next day, knowing I was about to take my last drink, the amount of anxiety in my brain was almost unbearable. Then that Monday came and I quit drinking. I stayed sober for 2 years. But those first days were absolutely brutal. My meds weren't doing anything. My heart raced for 4 days straight. I didn't sleep until Thursday night. I don't know what a heart attack feels like, but I imagine it must feel something like that constant panic in your chest. Then on Thursday, despite having no sleep and having worked all day before starting the 4-hour drive back home, it was like the weight of the world suddenly lifted off my shoulders and I could breathe for the first time. That was what mattered the most. This time was different. I had quit drinking more than 5 times throughout my life. And every time it had backfired and gotten progressively worse. Before this, the longest I'd lasted was around 40 days. Day 4 had always been complete hell. But this time, at the snap of a finger, it was like my addiction vanished and my anxiety disappeared with it. My life started gradually changing for the better right in front of me. Then, I violated probation, and that meant jail time was coming. Around the same period, my dad's health was declining badly. Back in September 2021, he had suffered a brain aneurysm while walking up the cellar stairs, fallen backwards, and landed on his head. I just arrived as the paramedics were hauling him away. I didn't think he was going to make it through the night. After months in a coma, and I think around 6 months in the hospital overall, he managed to pull through. During that time, I prayed again in the exact same desperate way. God, if you are real, can you help save my dad? I promise I will change if you bring my dad back. Watching my mum go through that kind of anguish was killing me. My dad went from being a healthy, 62-year-old man to seeming like someone in his late 90s by the time he woke up. I valued every single moment I had with him after that. So I pushed the jail date back as far as I could, thinking he might pass at any moment. That's why I scheduled my shoulder surgery. So here, I was 5 months sober, helping my mum take care of my dad, facing jail, scheduling surgery, and then eventually reaching the day of my out-of-body experience. 8 months sober on January the 5th, 2023. But before the OBE, there was jail. I was sentenced to 4 months. During that time, they refused to give me my medication prescribed by my psychiatrist. I took this for insomnia. While I was there, I started building relationships with the other inmates. That bothered the jail administrators because, in my opinion, they wanted chaos, arguments, and fights. Meanwhile, I was preaching about God and handing out Bibles to other inmates. The jail didn't like that, so they changed the rules and made it so no one could just grab a Bible anymore. It had to be signed out. I still wasn't getting my meds, and by around day 20 in jail, with very little sleep, I was struggling so badly. The jail staff laughed in my face when I was going through it. We had chapel once a week, and a man named Dale would come in, read a chapter from the Bible, and explain what he thought it meant. I noticed he seemed intrigued not only by how I interpreted certain things, but by what I was saying in general. It felt like I'd gotten his wheels spinning. After one chapel session, during lock-in, when we were all supposed to be quiet in our rooms, I heard the voice again, clear as day. "I like what you say." I waited all week to see Dale again because I needed to ask him something. I asked him if he'd ever heard a voice that wasn't his own internal dialogue. To my surprise, he immediately said yes. And in the same instant, I remembered the day, 20 years earlier, when the voice had told me to put my seatbelt on. Dale told me that in his case, he had been a state trooper, off duty, drinking in a bar. And the voice told him to stand up and look around. When he did, it said, "You don't belong here." He was sober from that day on. During those days in jail, when I still wasn't sleeping and still wasn't getting my meds, which ended up taking 45 days and a lawyer to sue over, something else started happening. On 3 separate occasions during lock-in, I would try to sleep, but instead, I would see a never-ending scroll. It looked like some kind of scripture, a mixture of English and a language I had never seen before, and I couldn't even describe. It was like a Bible of some kind, because the words felt biblical, but it was moving as fast as movie credits. I couldn't read it fully, but certain words would be highlighted. The first word was lust. The second time it happened, the highlighted word was from a language I didn't recognise. The third time, the number 7 appeared blinking, and as it faded, the number 4 did the same thing. The day I finally got my medication, those visions stopped. That's why I say people need the whole story to see the bigger picture, because by then, all of this was tying together in ways I still didn't fully understand. Then came January the 5th, 2023. I had shoulder surgery that morning. When I woke up out of surgery, I was completely out of it. And they were insistent that I'd not attempt to move my arm. The doctor gave me pain meds and warned me to stay ahead of the pain because when the nerve block wore off about 12 hours later, I was going to experience the worst pain of my life. My immediate thought was that since the mushroom chocolate bars 2 days before I quit drinking had made me feel good, maybe the real thing would help alleviate the pain. So, as I was sitting in my living room alone, by that point, my little house looked staged, almost like an open house for real estate. 9 months earlier, when I had been in a drunken mess and all my windows had been covered so you couldn't tell whether it was day or night. My bathroom vanity had stayed open because I hated looking at my own reflection. The place had been littered with empty bottles of vodka. What had once been my self-induced prison had become peaceful, clean and fresh. I took mushrooms. I didn't know how much to take because I'm not somebody who normally does mushrooms, but a friend suggested an amount. It was never weighed, but if I had to guess, somewhere around 4 to 5 grams. After about 45 minutes, this started taking effect. In the living room where I was sitting, I saw a rainbow appear over my snake plant. I remember thinking, what the heck? How is that even possible? It was so cool. Then I put on my Oculus VR headset and logged into a guided meditation app called Trip. In the app, I was in this virtual forest at night under the northern lights. It was beautiful, but I knew it was fake. I was fully aware it was VR. Then the guide said, sometimes the messages are hidden in plain sight. The moment those words were spoken, it was like my brain started piecing everything together from a different perspective. I still don't know how to explain that part. The next thing I knew, it felt as if my body was being lifted upward like an elevator at the speed of light. I could feel it in the back of my neck, and as it was happening, I saw the earth getting smaller and smaller. I was completely confused and genuinely questioning whether this was real or just part of the VR experience. Then suddenly, I was outside my parents' house. Now I really was confused, because I was there, but my body wasn't. I was outside their home, on the property I consider my sanctuary, but I was bodiless. And somehow I felt more real than I could ever begin to explain. I remember thinking, how can I see without eyes? It was January the 5th, in New York. So the ground had snow on it, but just like that, as if someone had snapped their fingers and said, no, we need the best spring or summer day, not winter. Everything changed. Instantly, it became a beautiful, lush spring or summer day. I was in complete amazement, just taking it all in. And then I came back, face to face with the light. The instant I saw him, it was like an atomic explosion of love, far beyond any description. The clouds literally rippled. And when I say face to face, I mean this light being was enormous. I have a picture of the tree where he was, and he was so bright that I couldn't tell whether he was sitting or standing. But intuitively, I felt as if he was seated on a throne just by the silhouette. He was well over 100 feet, and if you took 1,000,000 suns and combined them into one, it still would not compare to the pure white brightness of him. There was something like gold tinsel or electrical light swirling around him, and surrounding this massive light being was a rainbow. It was the most beautiful thing in the universe, period. I felt like an infant before him, a toddler, a lost soul experiencing love for the first time in my life. Not just in my life, but in my soul. The vibration of that love radiating off him will put anyone on their knees. I could feel it reverberating in through my entire existence. Even writing about it makes me cry. I felt like I'd lived several lives of complete failure, at least on my part, and had never made it this far before. It almost felt like in other lifetimes I died before believing in God and had to keep starting over and over again. I know that sounds strange, but that was the feeling. There was a frequency to him, and it was the highest frequency imaginable. It was ineffable. And while all of that was happening at once, I knew with absolute certainty that I was in the presence of God. I cried and sobbed until I let it all go. I was angry with him because my whole life I had felt abandoned. So there I was, crying what felt like a literal river, going through every emotion at once. And through telepathy, I asked him, "Where were you when I needed you the most?" Instantly, without words, it was as if I was watching a movie. My entire life replayed from day one up to the exact moment I was referring to, and then it paused. I was stunned because he knew exactly what moment I meant. The replay stopped on the night I had just finished that bottle of vodka, thrown it down, gotten on my hands and knees and prayed, "God, if you are real, can you please take my life, because I cannot handle life anymore." Now, I was watching that moment from outside myself, like I was sitting on a chair watching my own life. And it was through God's eyes, because standing behind me was a man with long hair. I never saw his face in that first moment because of the angle, but I knew it was Jesus. And what I understood instantly was that he wanted to take away all of my physical pain, my mental pain, my fears, my anger, my self-hatred, my depression, my anxiety, my addictions, and all of it. All I had to do was ask. Then everything connected. If you remember what came before, at that point I had already attempted suicide twice. The day after that prayer, I had said I wished I'd die in a car accident. And then the next day, the almost fatal car incident happened. That is why I'm a firm believer that prayer saved my life. Otherwise, I don't know how the accident would have played out. Once I realised that the man standing behind me was Jesus, my entire world got turned. As I like to say, right side up. 5 minutes earlier, I'd been an atheist. I'd forgotten about the prayer, forgotten about the accident, forgotten about all of it. And now I know not only that God was real, but that Jesus was real too. Once that clicked, I felt embarrassed. Honestly, I felt stupid for ever mocking God, Jesus, religion, and the Bible. I started apologising through telepathy, over and over, saying I was sorry. And then, with what felt like humour and tenderness, the movie started again. My life replaying from a different angle. It was like Jesus was saying, Oh, and I was here. And I was here. And here. My life flashed before me again, showing me all the moments where he had intervened, rerouted things, redirected traffic, changed patterns, protected me, and kept me alive until I was finally ready to understand that he had been there the whole time. It is almost impossible to describe, but it was like I saw my life through both God's perspective and Jesus' perspective. And with that came one of the most humbling parts of the whole experience. I was shown how all things are one. We are all connected. Harming others, harming nature, harming humanity, all of it is the same as harming ourselves. I was shown how I had negatively impacted people, especially with my words. And I felt the pain I had caused them as if I were in their shoes, literally. That part changed me forever. It makes you rethink what you say. It makes you rethink your thoughts. It makes you more aware of what words might trigger pain in someone else, and even if you're not speaking directly to them. Then suddenly, I was in a meadow. My soul had been crying so much from all of these emotions that it was as if my tears had formed a stream. On the other side of the stream stood a tree, and behind it was a beautiful sunset. Everything there felt more real than real. Our brains don't have the capacity to understand that fully, but it made this life feel like the dream. And I understood that my entire life had happened in the exact order it needed to happen for me to have that experience. I also remember saying to myself the moment I saw the light, how can something so perfect possibly exist? That is how I know I was with God. And in that same knowing came another realization. If something that holy and perfect exists, then evil is real too. I had been living a lie. Later, days or maybe weeks after the experience, I also saw more of Jesus. At first, I'd only seen the hair and known it was him. Later, I saw the rest. A burgundy robe, a sash, and a cane. Then just like that, I was back in my living room, sitting there with the Oculus on my face. I absolutely bawled. I wanted so badly to be back with God, with Jesus, with that place. I didn't know how to handle it. I was still coming down from the mushrooms, still having the normal psychedelic effects, but my whole life had been flipped right side up. And it was like my soul fully wasn't back in my body yet. When the mushrooms finally wore off and I was back in ordinary reality, the depression hit deep. Because I had no idea who I could tell or how to even begin sharing something that had completely shattered and rebuilt my reality in one night. But it also gave me instant wisdom. My intuition became incredibly sharp. Sometimes I just know things now. And there was still more. The next day, after my OBE, I had to testify under oath. What made it hilarious was that my insurance company had been fighting my claim, and a few months earlier, when I was told I'd have to swear under oath, I'd said, "It's completely pointless, because I don't believe in God anyway, but if it satisfies you, I'll do it." Now here I was, the day after my experience, basically speechless. I didn't have the mental capacity to deal with court, let alone anything else, because my entire reality had changed overnight. So I dropped everything and chalked it up as a loss. I couldn't even tell my therapist. Instead, I just changed. She noticed it anyway. At one point, she told me something along the lines of, "I've been doing this for 25 years, and I've never had a patient just stop drinking the way you did." Shortly after that, I stopped therapy. I was changed. My words were different. My thoughts were different. My actions were different. I stopped casually saying Jesus Christ in anger or oh my God without thinking. I became more patient, more aware, and more careful with people's feelings. And then something else happened that tied even more of it together. Over the course of about 3 months, I started noticing the same kind of changes in my best friend, who lives several states away. We talked once a week, and I could hear it in him. He had been an atheist too, but his words, his awareness, even his way of speaking has started to shift. I had never told him about my OBE. He didn't know I had been experimenting with psychedelics over the past few months. One night in particular, April the 25th, 2023, I'd taken some mushrooms about 30 minutes before we got on the phone. By then, they were starting to kick in. My friend, Theron, asked if I'd taken mushrooms. I asked him how he knew, and he said, "It's something you say." Then he said, "Hey, can I ask you something?" I knew instantly where this was going. I said, "Yeah." And he asked, "He's real, isn't he?" The second those words left his mouth, I had a crystal clear vision. It was as if my consciousness split into two. I saw Jesus from the front this time, smiling. Not just smiling, but smiling in a way that felt proud. Beside him was a gravestone. When I looked down, it had my signature on it. I looked back up at him, and through telepathy he said, "You chose life." And instantly, I was taken back to the almost car incident, to the prayer I had made asking God to take my life because I couldn't handle it anymore, and to the realization that Jesus and his angels had stepped in and saved my life before I ever believed in him. That is the truth as I know it. Jesus saved my life, and I didn't even believe in him yet. So you see, this is far more than just an OBE. This isn't just a story about leaving my body. It is the story of a life that looked abandoned from the inside, but never actually was. It is the story of a voice I heard at 17, a prayer made on a bedroom floor, an impossible car accident, a battle with alcohol, a jail cell, visions I couldn't explain, and finally being brought face to face with a love so absolute that it changed everything. I know now that I was never alone. I know now that I was never abandoned. He was there the whole time. Wow. I mean, that experience is just absolutely amazing. He thought he was alone. He thought no one was listening. He thought his life had no meaning. But in the end, he realised something most of us spend our whole lives searching for. He was never abandoned. Not once. And maybe, just maybe, neither are you. If this story made you feel something, or made you question even a small part of what you believe, then it found you for a reason. Follow for more real experience stories that sound impossible but change lives every single day. And remember, you are not alone. You never have been.